Tim, you look like a bouncer at a bar I got kicked out of once.
Tim does?
Yeah, look at him.
It's the beard, the backwards hat. That's what it is. I definitely don't look like a real estate agent.
It's all in the numbers, Tim.
That's right.
All right, let's see.
Surprisingly quiet on this call, you guys.
I know. Oh my goodness, it's 11. We got the curse of the realtors. Let's give them just a couple minutes here.
Okay. Anybody have anything we need to know about or talk about? Earth-shattering news that we happen to miss somehow?
Yeah. Any TMZ?
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to start with some bucket fills?
I feel like the bucket fill just every single time has to start with Ellen. Like we're just always going to be filling Ellen's bucket.
Okay. Who wants to start? You got anything nice to say about Ellen?
Surely we do. No, in all seriousness, she just continues to do so much, and she's in that office all by herself. And unbeknownst to a lot of you, our HVAC has been out, so she's been a little bit cold lately. Now she might be a little bit hot because temperatures are warming, but Ellen just keeps pushing forward for us. So thank you, Ellen.
Let's go. Mavis says Ellen's amazing.
I second that.
Yeah,
For sure.
she is.
Any other gratitudes or bucket fills as we wait for people to come on here? No. I'll bucket fill a little bit. I think the leadership staff and the extension of the leadership staff, which is the ALC, you guys have been doing really well and providing a lot of support for the agents, and that helps me keep momentum, and it feels nice to have some support around all of us. So thank you all for that, for sure. $21. Is our advertising broken? Where is everybody?
I don't know. I was just thinking.
Did we send a reminder text?
I didn't send a reminder text. I can, but do you want to?
And for next week?
Oh, well, I mean, I put it on our Facebook yesterday and this morning.
Just kidding with you. Hey, did y'all enjoy Mark Willis last time?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? He always brings it. He's one of those people, you get him on, you're like, what's he gonna say? It's gonna be dynamic, but yeah, I thought he did great. All right, well, I'm just gonna roll then because I don't know who's coming and when they're coming. There's Ellen. It's the first time she's ever been late to something in her life. All right, so what's the deal with Red Day?
Do you want me to say that? Do you want me to talk on this?
Yeah,
No.
Alex, let folks know when they can expect to be able to sign up for projects. And if there are other projects that we don't know about yet, you guys need to tell us immediately because we want to get them going.
That is great. So I'm in the process of working on the Google Drive right now. Everybody that has come to me and given me a project idea, I've added to that list. I'm waiting on a few people that worked on projects last year that are still waiting to see if they can start those projects or do projects for those organizations remotely. But by the end of this week, I should have it to you guys so we can start signing up.
Okay, so how will that be posted?
I mean, I'm going to do it. I'm going to email it out. I'm going to put it on Facebook, and I'll probably text it to everybody too, just so they have it. So just be on the lookout.
Okay, good. And are we doing movement first or second?
Let's go. Kim, you ready?
You ready to do some movement?
Yep. How are you guys doing?
Good.
So one thing that a couple of updates. Have you guys seen that we're doing the Heroes for Housing $500 credit to any first responder, doctor, teacher, police officer, nurse. So I had a couple that are in process and we were able to give them that credit. One thing that just came up, and this is kind of scary, but I need you guys to listen and hear me. If you are going to take a listing, you need to ask your seller, have they taken or asked for forbearance? Because if they have, they may be homeless because you cannot get a mortgage until you've paid on time for 12 months. So if you didn't hear me, before you take your next listing, make sure that your seller is not going to be homeless. I had a client that was going to list their house, and they called to get pre-qualified, and they had paused their mortgage payments, and they can't get another mortgage payment. So do your clients a service and ask that question. Right now, this has happened so soon that in that situation, they weren't late yet. Like they went ahead and just canceled it and started to make their payments again. But we're seeing a lot of people, 10 million people in this country, probably more than that now, have asked for forbearance. We did see some good news that Freddie Mac came out and said we are not going to require these people make their missed payments in full at one time in a lump sum. That's good. We're waiting for Fannie Mae to do that. Really, what I wish the servicers would do is just modify all these notes to tack these payments to the end of the loan. I know State Employees is doing that. They're not even doing like a forbearance. They're just doing a note modification. But that process is very laborious. And I think the servicers, like traditionally, if you want your note modified, you have to be late, and then they will modify your note to put those payments at the end of the loan. We don't want people doing forbearance that don't need it. And I sent a video out yesterday to all my past clients and said, if you're thinking about it or if you've done it, call me. And my phone has been ringing off the hook. And what I can tell you is 50% of the people that have done it or that have thought about doing it are working. They just think it's like, I can just sock up my, lift up my savings accounts and stock some cash and not make payments. And they don't realize that. So if you have sellers, make sure that you ask that question, because I think we're focused on buyers, people losing their jobs, but we're not thinking about that. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
The only other thing I would tell you is that rates are really good still. We continue to really work hard to verify people are employed right before closing. We are still seeing some people who are losing their jobs, and that's obviously causing some pain points. We did a great little interview with Beth Kramer. I posted it last night to your Keller Williams Facebook page. We're going to interview Wesley Green next Friday about what's happening in the insurance industry. I don't know if you guys know this, but I think the insurance industry has made a really big push to refund a lot of premiums for auto payments, auto insurance, and that sort of thing. So he's going to talk about that in addition to all these horrible storms that have been happening at the same time this pandemic is going on, which is awful. And then we should have some really big news. Everybody heard that we're servicing all of our loans now. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And we rolled back some of the tightening and took our credit scores down to 620 again. We do have a jumbo product again. We have a lot more flexibility if we're servicing them than if we're not. But we're going to have a new program rollout, and I don't have the details yet, but Casey announced it on our call Monday for essential workers, basically where we do a loan for free for them.
Cool.
And so when I figure out what an essential worker is classified as, I mean, is that like my trash man because he picks up my trash, or are we just talking about doctors and nurses and people in the medical industry? We'll be rolling that out to you guys, but that's going to be huge. Movement's not going to make any money. The loan officer is pretty much going to be donating most of their commission. So it will be a really sweet deal and they'll get great rates. That's all I got.
Cool. Thank you, Kim. That's awesome.
Thanks.
All right, so I wanted to transition. We got a special guest today. I keep dropping guests on you. So our guest today, Athena's best friend and highest level of enemy in the same package. Just kidding. It's
That's very true. That's very true, by the way.
Totally is. Michaelann Byerly from I'm not sure where you live, but you work with Maps and KWRI.
I'm in Vegas.
Okay, so she's in Vegas. She's featured in the Shift book. What else? I mean, you're one of the original Maps people. You're interviewed all the time. So I'd love for you to take a minute and share some thoughts, ask some questions, whatever you got.
Well, number one, thank you for allowing me to hang with you guys today. And I promise I am not here to do a seminar, so don't worry about that. And obviously, I'm honored that you're allowing me to hang with you today. So thank you very much. Your leadership is so cool to invite Maps and Bold coaches to is this your weekly huddle? Is that where we are right now?
We typically do a monthly team meeting. We've broken it down into every 2 weeks. We're doing a longer one and a shorter one just because of the social distancing stuff to give us some more connection.
Perfect. Awesome. Love that. So would it be okay if we just had a little maybe coaching opportunity?
Let's do it.
Great. Cool. So I'd love to start with what I'm going to call the fundamentals. And when things happen in the world, like our market of the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our businesses maybe go sideways, if you will. Sometimes we tend to blame an event. So maybe it was the economic crash in 2008. Maybe it's COVID-19 in 2020, right? And yes, obviously, those types of events do have an impact, yet blaming a business failure, if you will, on a single event would be no different than a sports team, and I know you got those, right? That'd be no different than a sports team blaming their loss on a blown call. Would we all agree?
Yes.
Yeah. The truth is, many of us have been ignoring the fundamentals for way too long. And unfortunately, ignoring the fundamentals could end our business game. Are you all starting to realize that?
Yes.
Yeah. And really, the truth is, we were being real estate agents and not business people for a really long time. And I know Gary alluded to this yesterday on the Agent Mastermind, right? Those seeds of failure, those are sown during the good times, right? The market, and I know you'll agree, the market's been shadowing the performance and bad habits of thousands of agents for years. And that shadow transitioned into a spotlight virtually overnight. Do we agree?
Yes.
I think so. So pardon my expression, don't get mad at me when I say this. The real estate swamp is getting drained.
Yep.
Right? You all understand that. You get that. You've probably been talking about that since, wow. Doesn't March seem like it was like 3 years ago? Like what day is it, right? Yeah. So I'd love for you to jot down these 3 questions. Now, I'm not asking you to answer them right here, right now. I would love for you to jot down these questions and then maybe come back on another Zoom call together with all of you, with your leadership, with Jeff, or even yourselves, right? And really look at your answers and maybe brainstorm and mastermind the answers to these questions. So are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Number 1, I'd like you to jot down, where are you, which really means where am I, right? Because you're asking yourself, where are you, or where are you and your team ignoring the fundamentals? Where are you ignoring the fundamentals? In your business, of course, is what we're talking about. The second question that I have for you, please jot this down. What is the one fundamental you haven't been doing, have not been doing, that you must, and maybe write must in capital letters, you must focus on now in this market of the moment? What is that one fundamental? And then my third question for you is, what is the one fundamental you must instill to thrive during this market of the moment? What is that one fundamental that you must instill to thrive during this, we'll call it a shift? Now, I coached and sold during 9/11 Gulf War, right? It was a shift. I coached and sold during 2008, 2009. Little different. I know that we would agree, right? Little different. I know I see Sherry, I see Brad. I'm sure you would say, right? Little different today than that market of the moment, yet still a shift. Yes? And at MAPS, we've been talking about this market of the moment in 3 phases. Originally, like way back in March, right, which seems so long ago now, way back in March, we were talking about urgency, right? Let's get those properties closed if they're pending and they're going to close in April, move them into March. Then we went into what we're going to call real estate school, real estate 2.0, because I'm sure you would all agree we are not going to be doing business the same way in the future, or even now, right? We're not going to be doing it the same way we're doing it 6 months ago. Are you all starting to realize that? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. I have coaching clients right now that are saying things like, never going to go back to traditional open house, right? They are loving these virtual open houses. They're loving all the activity from them, and they're selling houses from them. They're loving doing the digital listing presentation and the digital buyer strategy session. So it is not be business as usual moving forward. You all get that, I'm sure. I would highly recommend and suggest that we use this time. And when I say this time, how long are you guys going to stay in shelter in place? Do you know that at this moment?
I think we're waiting to hear. Yeah, we don't know. We know we're still there.
I think they extended it until May 8th and then pending.
Right, the latest update.
Okay, so into May is what I'm hearing you say, yes?
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's use this time, if you haven't already, to really get better and stronger than ever before. And let's start to recast our vision, which Gary did also talk about on that mastermind. And really, as Gary says, you've heard him say this, maybe you saw him post this or somebody posted this, heads down and what? Who knows the rest of that statement?
Eyes up.
Heads down and hearts up, right? We've been talking a lot about service first and what?
Sales.
Sales second. Yet, that doesn't mean that we don't ever talk about real estate again. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
Like, I love those care calls, yet we completed those, right? Did everybody get through all of their care calls? Show of hands? Yes? Okay, perfect. Now we've got to move on to the next phase. We're back to urgency again in the MAPS world, because I'm a little concerned, which is why your leadership invited me and other guests to talk to you. We're a little concerned about May, June, and July, right? Because who besides me likes cash flow? Yeah, right? Exactly. So we've got to realize that the landscape for being a real estate professional is going to change. It's already changed. And yes, we know that there will be a surge in real estate on the other side of this, right? And Gary talked to us on a separate mastermind for the coaches, how we are going to be in huge demand. So we've got to prepare for that. And what's going to allow you to thrive is skills, right? We've got to have those mad skills, if you will, so that when we are on the other side of this, we are not part of the, did Gary say 40 or 50% of the agents will be leaving? Some crazy number, right? Over 300,000 left in that 2008, 2009 recession. The reason that we're talking today and that your leadership is bringing guests on to your Zoom calls is because we don't want any of you to leave the business. Would that be right, Jeff?
That's right.
Of
Well,
course.
hold on. Let me look around. Yeah, that's right. So far, we're good. Yeah.
So let's just say anyone that's on this
Jeff.
call today, right? There you go. Here's what we know. There is a silver lining in all of this. And I think you would agree that the virus, right, has leveled the playing field for all of us. Are you with me on that?
Yep.
Yes.
Like we're all in the same boat right now.
Yep.
Yet, certain people will come flying out of the gate like they've been waiting for this moment their entire life, right? I coach a young guy, Spencer, he's 27 in Washington State. And if you know Washington State and COVID, right, you know all about that. Well, Spencer has never been more excited about his real estate business because he's telling me he's so excited because he's never been in a shift before. So he's like, woohoo, a shift, right? So it really is all about how you respond.
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, because we can't control those external forces, yet we can control how we what?
Respond.
Respond to them.
Respond, absolutely. And those of us that are prepared, those of us that welcome these changes on the other side of this, those of us that are not afraid, those of us that are excited about whatever comes next, we're not worried about you, right? The question is, will that be you? Will it be you that thrives on the other side of this? Let's go back to the care calls. I'm going to give you a transition right now because we've got to get ourselves and we've got to get our prospective buyers and sellers out of being present based, let's say, right? We've got to get them thinking future. We've got to get them future based because if you've ever watched TV for the last 6-7 weeks, I don't know how long it's been right now, right? What are all the commercials talking about? Anybody know?
How we're all in this together,
Antidepressant.
maybe.
Future.
Yeah. How we're all in this together. What else?
Anxiety meds.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, a lot of commercials.
It's very true.
Right?
Yeah.
So you probably have anxiety, right? Is the commercial. And stay safe, right? We're all in this together. So the commercials have virtually changed overnight. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Yes.
And they're all being present based, meaning stay on the couch and eat, right? So you're probably seeing commercials that are like, stay home, stay safe, and Pizza Hut will deliver, right?
Right.
And unfortunately for some of us, it's causing us, maybe not consciously, it's causing us to stay in that comfortable position. Are you with me? And those care calls are amazing. Yet now we've got to transition into talking about real estate again. So have you all started to do that?
They're scared. They're lying.
I've found that with the care calls to go 3, 4, even 5 deep with the questions with the client it's human nature to ultimately want to respond in kind. So if we're calling with true concern and asking them questions about their life and their circumstances, at the end of that conversation, there's a very, very high chance they're going to say, wait a minute, we've been talking all about me. What's going on with you? What's real estate doing right now? And I think that's a really smooth and natural transition. And if it doesn't happen, then it's a follow-up call with transitioning into real estate.
Okay. So I'm going to share with you today, simple little conversation that you can have. Now, obviously you're not starting with this, right? I know you get that. You're starting with, is everybody safe? Is everybody healthy? We're still doing that. I'm not saying we don't do that anymore. Yet even Gary would agree, we've got to transition back into real estate, right? So simple question that is allowing my coaching clients, our coaching clients, 6, 10, 12 listing appointments a week, whether that's virtually or in person, because some are still doing them in person. That's cool. So here you go. We're doing our check-in and we're going to transition with this simple question. Works beautifully. The question is, what specifically, very important that we use that word, what specifically would you like to know or need to know about our local real estate market right now? Easy transition. What specifically, because there's a whole psychology behind that, yet the purpose of that is it'll start to get their brain thinking about specifics, right? So what specifically would you like to know or need to know or want to know, however you want to say that, about our local real estate market right now? Can you see how that could lead into a real estate conversation? Yes?
Yes.
Of course. And then obviously you'll take it wherever it's going to go. And by the way, I love what Kim mentioned. Kim is a lender, is that right? Yes. So the information that came out yesterday that she spoke about, I just got off of a Zoom call with my coaching schedule, and what one of them mentioned was they did a text relating to what Kim talked about. They did that yesterday, and 170, Kim, you'll love this, 170 responses from that one text. So Kim, what would you suggest they put in their text as it relates to that information that came out yesterday?
I would just, I sent an email, a BombBomb video email, and asked my clients to call me. And I just basically would say, if you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the next 12 months, we totally need to talk before you exercise some of your options with mortgage relief, because there's some unintended consequences. And I think that people who are going to be in the market would definitely be piqued to respond.
And would they not appreciate that?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yes, that would definitely be a value add for them. By the way, in addition to these conversations that you're having, I don't even want to call them care calls anymore, simply because we've got to get back to getting them thinking about real estate again, because May, June, and July, they're going to be doing real estate transactions again. So I would love for you to not only be talking to these people more than ever before. And if you've been in Bold 2.0, you know I'm a Bold coach, right? If you've been in Bold 2.0, you know about DTD2. We're not even doing that anymore. It's DTD4, right? Because it's that important that you get through this database of people that know you, like you, trust you, know of you. It's critically important that you get through this faster and that you are touching them twice a week, not twice a month anymore, twice a week. One with market stats is what we're suggesting. And the other could be a great touch that Kim just mentioned. Would we all be on board with that?
Yep.
Yep. Perfect. So obviously, what kind of Bold coach would I be if I did not talk about Bold Pivot, which is happening on May 5th? So Jeff, would it be okay if we just talk about that for a minute or two?
Yep. Go for it.
Perfect. So I'm sure that you've heard Gary say that when there is a shift, right, we have to respond or pivot quickly, right, to ensure that our business stays on track and does thrive and not survive, right? We've got to thrive. So on May 5th, you already know you have the opportunity to experience Digital Bold, right? We don't have to drive anywhere, right? Some of our Bold participants, they're driving an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We're coming to you, as you know, in your living room, dining room, home office, whatever that looks like. And here's what I love about Bold Pivot. I was an original Bold coach going out on the road in 2009, right? And the same course writer, love her, the same course writer that wrote Classic Bold, you know, we're not supposed to call it Old Bold, right? We're supposed to call it Classic Bold, right? So the same course writer that wrote Classic Bold wrote Bold Pivot. Especially important is the mindset pieces. So you all clearly know that it all starts with what's in between your ears, right? So on May 5th, that is the first topic of conversation in Bold Pivot. I would highly recommend you not miss that strategy, that conversation that you'll be learning around mindset. So in addition to that, of course, what kind of bold would we be or Bold Pivot if we didn't talk about profit? That's a pretty big topic right now, how we can do more when dealing with less. So what do you think that means when we say do more when dealing with less? Anybody?
Watching expenses.
Say it again.
Watching your expenses and trimming the fat.
Yes, yes. She and I have had this conversation already, but I love that you brought that up. Yes. So absolutely, we're going to most likely stop spending money that, let's be honest, you had no business spending in the, to begin with. What else could that mean? Doing more when dealing with less. Because that's a big topic of conversation right now, especially in Gary's mastermind. Anything else?
Higher conversions.
Say it one more time.
Like higher conversion rates.
Let's talk about that. Absolutely. Gary right now is saying, you might want to jot this down, 50 leads, 50. We've got to have 50 leads in our pipeline now that are 0 to 6 months out. Why do you suppose Gary is saying 50?
For the fallout.
Athena knows these answers. That's awesome.
I was going to say that. Good job, Athena.
Yes, good job, Athena, right? Yeah.
We got to call her before this.
We're talking about a 25%. Let's use that number. If yours is not 25%, good for you. Yet if there's a 25% fallout, we've got to be aware, right, of that. And by the way, Gary is also saying this hasn't even started yet. Some of you have not even seen what I might call the consequences of COVID-19. Hasn't even started yet, which is why we're very concerned about May, June, and July, right? We've got to continue to write business. So not only is it the fallout, we also have to look at, going back to cash flow, are we capped? Are we not capped? Do we have expenses? Like what's going to come out of that commission income? And then of course, we have a net after we pay Uncle Sam, right? Because we still have to do that. That is why he's saying 50, 0 to 6 months. So for some of you, that might mean you got to get on the phone. Would you agree, Jeff?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Which leads us back to Bold Pivot. And what else is happening? Of course, what kind of bold would we be if we didn't talk about lead generation? We'll talk a lot about those care call conversations, best practices for those, what those transitions and those segues are going to look like, because it's critically important we get back to talking about that. And of course, you're going to learn how to run a digital savvy business, because we are not going to be doing business the same as usual moving forward. the other thing I love about Bold Pivot and it being digital is because I'm on the West Coast. So I don't go to the East Coast and have a Bold class, right? So the East Coast participants will now experience Bold coaches they've never experienced before. The West Coast will experience East Coast Bold coaches that they've never experienced before. So I love that part about it. You're going to be with a Bold coach, as I'm sure you already know, 4 times a week. And it's a pretty advanced coaching program to begin with. Now you couple that with the market of the moment strategies and the mindset pieces. I think it's a pretty good deal for $99 to be in front of a Bold coach 4 times a week for 4 weeks, in addition to all of that interaction that we're already having every day on that Bold Pivot private Facebook page. So I would imagine, Jeff, that everyone on this Zoom call is already registered or will be. Is that true?
Well, I just went ahead and gave everyone the link. So if you're not signed on, and it starts May 5th, you said?
It starts May 5th. I'll give you like the breakdown, right? Tuesday and Thursday, 2 hours.
Okay.
Working on strategies, working on market of the moment topics, strategies, tactics, right? And then Wednesday and Friday, you are with a Bold coach for coaching opportunities. So maybe it's, how do I implement that text strategy that you gave us for our database? Or maybe on the Wednesday and Friday coaching corners, we're calling them, maybe you'll role play a conversation that you would like to master. So Tuesday and Thursday, strategies, Wednesday and Friday, coaching. And then every day, literally, because we are assigned slots for that Bold Pivot Facebook page, every day we are there sharing information, great videos, great content, and answering any questions on the implementation of these Bold Pivot strategies every day over there. So yeah, great question.
Are these 1 hour sessions or 2 hour sessions?
Thank you, John. That's a great question. They are 2 hour sessions, 1 to 3 Central Time, which I believe equates to 2 to 4 your time. Is that correct?
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 to 4, with then the additional opportunities every day on that Bold Pivot private page. Any other questions for me before I let you guys go today?
Sounds like we should do the Bold Pivot. That's that's my takeaway.
Good takeaway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty intuitive. Yep.
And, you know, it truly is a gift from Gary, because if you didn't know, originally, Bold Pivot was only going to be going out to those March locations that raised their hand and said, we'd like Bold. And then obviously we're not flying to those locations. And then Gary said, you know what? Let's open this up to the entire world. There are literally going to be 22,000 at the end of day today that are already registered for Bold Pivot. It's quite a gift at $99, let's be honest. And don't forget, who besides me loves the 21st of the month? Anybody? I know Sherry's raising her hand. Yeah, right, Brad? You, of course, now have the opportunity to invite your friends at other companies. I know Jeff will appreciate that, right? Yep. It will be the easiest recruiting appointment he could have for 4 weeks. And then what I would obviously recommend, you're inviting the non-KW guests, and then maybe you, as an agent participant, maybe you have a little mastermind session on Monday before it starts again on Tuesday with your guests. I think that would be a great idea, and really, literally one of the easiest ways to build your profit share. Would you agree, Jeff?
I would.
Yeah. They don't need a special code. They don't need anything. All you'll do is give them the link and they're good to go. Also vendors, by the way, Kim could obviously be in Bold Pivot with us as well.
That's awesome.
You guys, before we hop off here, I want to say thank you to Michaelann. We really appreciate that. And also, a lot of us just finished Bold. I wish they would have named it something different because I think you're going to get a different experience out of Pivot. So look at it as Pivot,
Yes,
not
you
as
are.
Bold. Because even though we just finished Bold, you could still benefit greatly from this curriculum. So keep that in mind as you're considering whether or not you're going to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you can get yourself in a mindset of moving from should to must, I think that's the most important thing. Like, imagine $99 being the difference between I should do that and it becoming something that you must do. You're not going to look back and say, gosh, I shouldn't have done that. So put yourself in a situation that allows for success. Like if you don't take swings, you're never going to hit. So set it up for yourself.
For sure. And it is content that's relevant today, right? Things that we would not have been talking about 6 months ago in Bold 2.0, which is what I love about this opportunity for all of you, that Gary is saying, hey, let's make sure everybody has the opportunity to join us in this incredible curriculum in this program. So I love that you mentioned that. Totally different.
That's great. Cool. Thank you so much, Michaelann. That was awesome.
You are very welcome. And I trust you will get together at some point and explore those questions as it relates to the fundamentals, because we must get back to the basics. The mastermind yesterday, if some of you were in it, you already know, right? It is back to the basics, of course, which is what Bold Pivot will help you with for sure.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Great rest of the day.
All right, KWP.
I'll see you soon.
So quickly, KWP, I want you to know that we're still at 3.3 months of inventory in the market. So we're still seeing home sales happen. I'm doing coaching calls all day, every day. And you'd be amazed the number of people I'm talking to that are saying, I've got 13 pending, I've got 9 pending, so put yourself in the headspace. The deals are still happening. I've said this 3 times today already, but fear is more contagious than this virus. So stay in process and activity. I do think the Bold Pivot's a great way to keep us in activity. But remember, deals are still happening. You can look every day and see how many are pending or how many closed. And if you start the day thinking the market's slow, do that at the end of the day and then ask yourself why you're not one of the people that closed that deal or put one under contract today. It's all up to you. Be the ones closing the deals. I appreciate everybody coming today. And we've got a ridiculous speaker for the next one. Ridiculous. I might even say it might one-up Mark Willis. We'll see. So I encourage all you guys to be on the next one and see if you can get other people to join as well. Love you guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.